What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so in this video, I want to talk about Vince Carter for a second. Now, right now, we're about 5 weeks or so from the All-Star break. And Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, the star guard, has been lobbying for Vince Carter to be included in the slam dunk contest. And I think it's actually a really good idea, man. I think it's a really good idea for several reasons. Number one, of course, Vince Carter is going to be selected to be in the All-Star game due to the circumstances. Much like how Dirk Nowitzki was selected last year. This is his final season, and while his statistics and performance this year don't necessarily justify an All-Star selection, his place his place in NBA history and the circumstances, this being his final year, more than justify him being selected on the team. Um, Also, it's the platform that pretty much welcomed him. That wasn't his first NBA game. You know, when he first played his first season in the 98-99 season, which was an abbreviated NBA season, the NBA did not have a slam dunk contest that particular year. As a matter of fact, I think there wasn't a slam dunk contest in '98, which was a full season. If I'm not mistaken, I think they pretty much just did away with the slam dunk contest that year. But they brought it back in 2000, and Vince Carter dominated that contest. And I think anybody that remembers watching that will attest to this. He dominated that slam dunk contest in a way that I've never seen anybody dominate it before or since. Not to that extent. I remember Dwight Howard doing what he did, but Vince Carter just pretty much owned it from his first dunk to the time he hoisted the slam dunk championship trophy. I mean, it was his. And I think it would be a great send off for him. 20 years later, remarkable longevity for this individual. 20 years later to participate in his final slam dunk contest. And, at worst, you know, he performs admirably. He's still athletic. He still can dunk. You know what I'm saying? It's not that we want him to replicate what he did in 2000. I don't know if that's physically possible. But to still perform, at least that's where he belongs. I know that a lot of his career, he was resistant to being associated with just being a dunker, and he wanted to expand his game. As he got older, he kind of became more of a jump shooter, 3-point shooter, you know, rather than just a slasher, dunker. Uh, but I think that Vince Carter should embrace this. We've seen it before to an extent. 1976, the slam dunk contest was brought to the ABA. The ABA was starting to really decline at that point. That would be the last season for the ABA. But they brought the slam dunk contest to bring some excitement to the league. And Julius Erving, in a crowded field of great, great all-time dunkers, including David Thompson, won it on that iconic free throw line dunk where he ran all the way to full court, the length of the court, I should say, and dunked it near the foul line. So when the NBA brought the slam dunk contest to their league in 1984, who was the best person to represent uh, the dunk contest other than Dr. J, even though he was older at that time and will ultimately lose, if I remember serving correctly, to a young Larry Nance of the then Phoenix Suns. But he participated to bring authenticity to that contest. And I bring that up because of the fact that, let's be honest, since Vince Carter had his electrifying performance in 2000, we pretty much haven't had any notable names in that contest. You know what I'm saying? I remember guys like, you know, Fred Jones. And that's not a knock on the great Fred Jones, but I remember guys like Fred Jones, you know, Nate Robinson winning the contest. And Nate Robinson wasn't like a nobody. He was a really good player, decent player when he was trying to shoot in his own goal. But we haven't really had that star power that we initially had in the early 2000s with the slam dunk contest. And even though now, he's no longer really Vince Carter, his name is synonymous with this contest. And I think that he should participate, man, And who knows, man? Maybe lightning can strike twice, and maybe he'll be inspired to put on a performance that, you know, we wouldn't expect from him at this particular age. He's 42 years old. He'll be 43 by the time of the contest in 6 weeks or 5 weeks. That's really remarkable in itself for a player to be that old. Let's not kid ourselves. For a player to be that old and still be in the NBA competing at any type of level, you know. Um, I remember when Vince Carter was pushed to be the star of the NBA. He was pushed. He was from North Carolina like Mike. He had the bald head, you know what I'm saying? Uh, Athletic, great dunker, in-game dunks, exciting dunker, powerful dunker. Um, I would say from 99 to like 2001-ish, he was pushed as the star of the league. He was pushed. Then I remember in 2001, they kind of pushed Iverson more during that MVP campaign. He and Allen Iverson had that epic duel in that playoff series, which went all the way to a game 7, all the way to the final possession. Awesome series. But then after that, Vince Carter started, he never fell off, but other guys started getting more and more attention at that time. Kobe was really starting to come into his own. And although Kobe ultimately did have his issues legally, other players were starting to get, attention. You had a very star-studded league back then, full of guys like Jason Kidd, who was doing his thing with the then New Jersey Nets, taking their team to back-to-back finals. Tim Duncan and Dave Robinson doing their thing in San Antonio, ultimately winning a championship in 2003. And then after Robinson retired, Duncan was still able to help lead that team to championships later on in the decade. Then, of course, Kobe and Shaq. And later on, Kobe leading the other uh, version of the Lakers to titles. You had the Detroit Pistons. You had all these different guys. Then the arrival of LeBron James, of course. So Vince kind of got lost in the fold. He's still putting up all-star numbers with the Nets, but he sort of faded. He never had that same drive to be the man, the best. He wanted to just be a good basketball player. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the fact that he wasn't quite as dedicated to pushing himself to the limit, maybe that's why he was able to play as long as he's been able to play. I mean, he's always been able to keep himself in shape, but maybe that's why, Kobe Bryant was forced to retire at age 37, while Vince is still playing at age 42, 43. So we'll see. We don't know. But I do know that Vince Carter is the first ballot Hall of Famer. Even if he didn't live up to the lofty expectations that we had of him 20 years ago, he still is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's highly regarded as the greatest dunker of all time. It's usually him and Dominique Wilkins. He was an 8-time NBA All-Star. He was the 1999 Rookie of the Year. Of course, like I said, he won the Slam Dunk Contest in 2000. And he won Olympic gold in Sydney in 2000. And who can forget that fucking dunk that he had on Frederick Weiss during that Olympic game, man? I've never seen a more impressive dunk than what Vince Carter did when he dunked on Frederick Weiss. If somebody says that name to me, right, I still remember, I still remember who that was, but that name is connected only because in my brain, etched in my brain because of what Vince Carter did to that guy. Vince Carter he jumped over a 7'2" or 7'3" guy. If you guys are younger and you've never seen that dunk before, go on YouTube and just Google Vince Carter Frederick Weiss. Or if you can't spell it right, just put Vince Carter dunks and just spell Weiss. I think it's Weis. That was one of the most amazing things I have ever seen in an NBA game before. People forgot, man. People forget what this guy was and what he was capable of. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Vince Carter had the drive of a Kobe Bryant, the mentality, the Mamba mentality of Kobe Bryant, and to go along with his genetic freakish gifts, and Michael Jordan's psychotic competitiveness. I mean, that's a lot of combinations, but if he had all that going together, Vince Carter been the greatest basketball player ever, man. But he just wasn't wired like Mike and Kobe. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't wired like those guys, but still, Hall of Fame caliber career, uh, well over 25,000 points. Later on this season, he should surpass Alex English and move into 22nd all time in the NBA scoring. So the Hall of Fame career is there, man. But yeah, I do agree with Trae Young. I think he should be considered for the dunk contest and enter the slam dunk contest. Tell me what you guys think.